Hello, everyone, and welcome to In the Know 360, show hosted by me, Annette, the warm hearted warrior diva. This show gives you insights on the journeys of high achieving business owners and music artists who share with the audience the importance of building a strong community of like minded individuals on the road to greater success. And today we have a collaboration with
Yeah.
a special guest, okay, Poppi Dizzy. And he's representing the DMV, y'all, because I'm
Mm,
in the DMV and this is our second round.
Round two.
Welcome, round two. I'm so glad to have you back on the show, sir. I appreciate you.
Nah, I'm glad to be back. It's been a while. What was the last time? I think it was 2023.
Yeah,
I
20.
know it was hot. I remember it was hot. It was
Yeah,
definitely hot outside. So,
probably about the same time. I don't know.
hmm
Around summertime, close. Well, this is hitting summer, so yeah, around this time of year. How's
hmm
things? How's things going for you?
So far, I can't I can't complain. I mean, life is life, but life is getting good. I feel like, I'm where I'm supposed to be, especially physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. I'm where I'm supposed to be. So, I don't got no complaints, honestly.
Well, that's good. Well, you're looking good, and I saw the latest video, and we'll go into that later
Yes,
on in
sir.
our discussion. But since folks probably don't know who you are, could you please tell the audience who Poppy Dizzy is?
Yeah, if they didn't know, I come from the DMV area, you know what I'm saying? My name is Poppi Dizzy, aka the Don, don't forget the Don. You, when it comes to music, to me, this ain't just music. This is art right here, you know what I'm saying? This is things that we don't really have a lot of in music anymore that I feel like we need to go back into. So if it's like I gotta be one of the pioneers to do it, I'm all fine with doing it. But I know there are others out there, they're on the same wavelength that I'm on, that are on the same timing and got the same message that I do and want to get it out there and are going to get it out there and are currently doing that right now as I am. So if you identify with that cause, I'm the perfect person for
I love it. I love it. He's being modest, y'all, but
you.
he is really the maestro, the teacher of music. Okay, uh, if you guys don't know, y'all need to tap in with him. And yeah, because this last album, I was like, whoa, because you we were kind of like talking back and forth through the years, like, yeah, I'm gonna get the get it out, and because I think it was, I forget, it was with the watch with the clock. That was when we last spoke. Was your last EP?
Yep,
I
time will
think
tell.
time would tell. Yeah. So
Hmm
and that was fire too.
Yeah,
So
that little 4 track.
I love that. I love that. Well, with that being said, let's dive right into it. We know that you have always been like a genre blending style, right? You have that genre
Hmm
blending style in your sound,
Yeah.
especially in the latest one, Too Little Too Late.
hmm
Feels even like more refined from the last, from Time Will Tell. What new elements, right, or influences did you bring to this project?
Boom. I can say, I mean, from my first one, my first album, Recovery, 3 years ago. I'm a person that once I complete a project, since I love art so much, I always got something extra, what I'm saying, that I'm currently working on or that I done in that last section. So I'm always cooking, you know what I mean? So from the heels of, my first album and stuff, I had to really go back and listen to my first album, and it's just like, okay, Well, I see where my sound was and what I was going for, and I know where my life was at that moment. Now with this, you know what I'm saying, with this album, Too Little Too Late, it's been done since March of last year. It's just that I'm a person that likes to live life more. So I like to, I knew that, I was going to write more that was going to fit into my era, what I'm saying, Too Little Too Late. The sound of this album then probably changed about 6 to 7 different times, honestly, because,
Wow.
I'm that much dedicated, what I'm saying, to it. And it's just like, I know what I did with my first one, but one thing I don't do is repeat how
Mm,
I sound. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the same sound. Like there's no artistic growth, you know what I'm saying? The growth as a person, just even overall improvement the way you approach music and do it. So it's just like a lot of people when they go through second albums and stuff, a lot of people go through sophomore slumps. I don't go through sophomore slumps. I avoided sophomore slumps because I
mm,
challenged myself not to say that I didn't know that I could do it. No, I knew I could do it, but I just wanted to go through the challenges of feeling that pressure. Like,
mm,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is real. Ain't no sophomore slump around here. So it's
mm,
like when I started writing when I started writing it, and
mhm,
it was just a little bit after time would tell actually that I started writing it. I think it was in September of 2023 when I started writing it. It was finished by March of 2024, you
mm,
know. And when I was writing, it was just like, I'm satisfied with what I got, but I was like, nah, I know there's more that's gonna come out, you know what I'm saying? And more about myself has been able, what I'm saying, to come out because I've done a lot of reflecting and things of that nature. Hence, there's a song on Time Will Tell called Reflections. But,
mm,
I've had a lot of time to reflect, what I'm saying, about everything and put a lot of things together because I've been by myself a lot. I smoke by myself, I drink by myself, I walk by myself, I do everything, what I'm saying, outside of, what I'm saying, my partner and my kids and stuff. I'm mostly, for the most part by myself. So it's like, I've learned so much being by myself that I was able to like sit down and it's just like, it's just me by myself and I'm able to, what I'm saying, to say what's on my mind and I just want to say it in my way. I just know this go round with this album, I was gonna be real unfiltered and raw with it. So it's like I had to I was listening to a lot of different sounds and I know what I wanted to do with this one. I didn't want it to be, just a rap album. It's just like, nah, I wanted people
right.
to be able to be like, yo, the sounds of this and how this sounds sonically, what I'm saying? It's crazy how you brought it together because it's like you drew inspiration from so
Mhm,
many different eras, but you were able to mesh it so perfectly. You
mhm,
know what I'm saying? It's just like, yeah, because I wanted to do that. I wanted people to not only hear an album, but they hear, what I'm saying, the sounds of the thing. So the words that are like a conversation, the beats are like the emotions back in those
right.
words. So people are going to gravitate to those sounds and gravitate towards those words. So I was just like I told myself, I was like, this time is go time, especially by the cover. I was like, nah, a lot happened since my first album. A lot of people I was cool with, what I'm saying, I was even close to, even family members I don't even talk to no more because of the games that they played and the things that they did. And they think that I wasn't aware of it, but it's just like, as you can see with this album, I have some words for people, but
Yeah.
there's more time for that where I address those type of things. I just wanted, to come back and give people, something that they're like, man, this is a really solid, piece of
Mhm,
work. Like,
right.
you really, what I'm saying, you put something in it, what I'm saying, to make this real solid because it's like it's 12 songs, it's
Mhm,
36 minutes, but it's easy to flow through. It's not nothing that's just like, well, it
mhm,
takes a while to get through. Now it's easy to go through. The transitions and everything are just so easy to go into the next track. But as you see, my first album talked about, fatherhood,
mhm,
marriage, all
mhm,
these pressures and anxieties. The
right.
second album touches on divorce, touches on betrayal, deceit, etc., etc. Not only that, though, notice on my first album there was kids, and
Yeah.
notice on this one in the middle of this album, you know, before we get to the end is where you hear me mention another kid. So not a lot of people didn't know that because you know, I'm private. You know what I'm saying? I live a private life. And not only that, people don't see me, you know,
Right.
as much, you know what I'm saying? It's almost rare to run into me, but it's just like that's just how I got it set up, you know. I think of it as work, come
Mhm.
home, do music, blah, 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 and keep it pushing. I mean, I'm living, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing things on my accord, but I don't got to record everything that I'm doing. I don't got to record every little family outing or nothing, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? But I'm out here living.
That's right. And
I'm living, you
that's,
know, so
yeah, it's funny because, like, I think we're mirroring each other, right? That whole solitude definitely helps your growth and
hmm
being one with your spiritual awareness and self care.
yeah.
Um, and it's funny because it sometimes it just happens that way, and
hmm
it's really interesting. You remind me of like a novelist because your sound, your the title of your albums, right? Your tracks is
Yeah.
like, time will tell, and then it's a little too little, too late, rather. So I'm saying, but like, man, it makes sense. And again, everyone, he's the maestro, which is means teacher of music. And shout out to shows that we have some folks on here. Black Dynasty ENT,
Yes,
uh,
sir.
Trey Shield, J.O. Official, and the model Ken. There's some folks joining. Leo Lion Club Foundation. Thanks for joining, everyone.
Yes, sir.
So, wow. When I heard this, so moving on to the next question, uh, what do you think the old you, right, would say about the music you're making now?
Man, all right, so that's like I'll compare that to me making both of my albums. What recovery mode me would say the too little too late me is like, wow, I I knew you had it in you, but I didn't know how unfiltered you could really get. Like when you're locked in, like you're really locked in. Like if recovery mode me would say like I'm proud of you. Like I did my job being recovery mode and you're doing your job being called too little too late, because if you think about it, you know what I'm saying, my whole catalog is everywhere, you know what I'm saying? And it's all like a little, you know what I'm saying? They all match up. Like the first one is called The Last Prophet, and then there's a part two of it. The third one is called The 420 Tapes, the Sensei Ninth Edition. Then we go to albums. We got Recovery Mode. 4 months after Recovery Mode, there's To Whom This May Concern. And then 5 months after that, there's Left for Dead. After that, we got Time Will Tell. And then we got Too Little Too Late. And you already know I got something else that I'm working on, but you know I'm gonna reveal the title on something tight-lipped.
Okay.
I never stop. Just know I never stop. I never stop working, but I don't. You know, I don't do music for, you know, just for money and stuff. I do it because I love art. You know, I love the art of music. You know that it really talked to me. You know, in ways. You know, when I hear music, I see different, you know, colors and things of that nature. So it's like, you know, I love art, you know, to teach art to others, you know, others can learn from your art. Even share your art with others and learn others' art. It's so inspiring, and it's such a deep passion that you just can't help but, you know, love every second, the goods and, you know, the bads of it. But it's more goods than it's bad, for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. Definitely. Well, don't worry, y'all. I'll get the inside scoop. The next, but I won't be sharing it with you. I'm gonna get it. Anyways, um, so let's do a deep dive, right? Too
hmm
little, too late.
hmm
Uh, it's a loaded title, obviously. This album is like a love letter, a warning, or something in between.
Hmm.
And I know you mentioned like family members, you mentioned relatives and past relationships. So, what, like, if you were to summarize it, what do you think that album portrays?
Yeah, it is a mixture between like a love letter and a warning, but it's also the ending of a chapter. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's the ending of a lot because, like I mentioned, in 7 days from now, well, a bit less because we're closer to 12 o'clock a.m. than we are to p.m.
Mm.
But next Wednesday, I'm gonna be 30 years old. This was my last, project album, blah, 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 in my 20s, and I know how I wanted to end my note off. So it's just like within this album, you hear me go through so many different, what I'm saying, motions and things of that. But
Mhm.
you hear a lot of resilience. You hear a lot of things, somebody that has learned, somebody that's really, continues to mature, but matured even more, even in a different way,
Right.
evolved, and changed. Like, don't get it twisted, that other person is still there too. But
Right.
it's like I'm choosing peace, before war. I do warn that war is always on the table, but
Mhm.
as where I'm at, especially where I'm at in life, and how cool and calm I am with life, I'm on more peace.
Right.
I value peace, so it's just like I showed myself, that I could, lighten myself up. You know what I'm saying, and do something light, make a deeper sound, not a darker sound,
Right.
a little dark, but more a deeper sound. So it's just like I
Right.
consider I consider this album probably my most darkest to date.
Mm.
Probably for sure my most darkest to date, but it just signals the shift that's coming. Like my next thing that I come out with is gonna be, I can say, my most like inspiring, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. You'll see the results of what this all happened. It's a difference between 20-year-old me something rapping versus 30-year-old me, whatever rapping. So it's like, I'm gonna do some different things. I'm definitely I'm gonna write a book for sure.
Yes, I'm
I'm gonna
waiting
do
for
it.
that.
Listen, but I'm gonna do it though. I'm gonna do something different because this ain't been done yet. I'm gonna write a book album because
Mhm.
technically that hasn't been done.
Right.
I have, I have the storytelling ability. I know how to pull the narratives and things like that. I know way too many people's perspective that I can speak from. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm gonna write a book, but it's gonna be an album. It's gonna be the first book album that comes out, for sure. Um, me and my me and my good man, he's like my brother, my
Mhm.
man Eric. We was talking about this like maybe like a month ago. I know we was both smoking, was talking about it, and we just came up with it. I was like, yeah, technically that ain't been done. Somebody writing a book, but an album, you know what I'm saying? And too many different perspectives. What this could
Oh
do,
yeah. Oh
this
yeah. Most
could
definitely.
this it could break the genre. Like, what I'm saying? It can open the door to something new. Maybe it'll set a different way. There's no telling what it could do, but technically, since it hasn't been done, when it all goes down to the originator of it and where it came down from, and who was the first person to put it on wax, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll all fall in this thing. So it's one of them things. It's just like, that's where my head is. You know what I'm saying? I am interested in teaching and things, and I think that's where music is teaching me too. It's just like
Yeah.
everything is good. It's all good.
Most definitely. So, which song, right, on the album was the hardest to write and why?
Oof. Um, hmm. Could I say was any of them hard? Yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
I mean, maybe it was hard after I realized when I did the song, the date that it was is what made it like difficult to hear it after.
Right.
But doing it like doing any of the songs wasn't nothing was difficult. I know with Keep It Peace with the
Right.
first verse, I know I was sitting on the first verse for like 2 or 3 months, and I was debating whether I was going to write a second verse or not, and I know my man was like, nah, you should keep it as it was. And I'm like, I'm not satisfied, you know what I'm saying? I was
Right.
like, nah, I'm gonna write a second verse to it, you know what I'm saying? So I'll finish the second verse, cool. But there's a song on there called December 30th,
Yeah.
and I know the timing I set it on there. I was like, it's 12:15, it's December 30th.
Mhm.
Unknowingly in like, cause I was in the studio, you know what I'm saying? I was finishing up the album, actually when I made that song. And maybe about I wanna say 8.5 to 9 hours later,
Wow.
I was sleeping and, my phone just kept ringing. I'm a D&D person. I don't like to be disturbed in the morning, especially if I'm not working.
Right.
And, my the kids don't have to go to school because it's winter break. Cool. So I'm asleep. But it just kept ringing. So I get up, go to the bathroom. My phone stopping to ring again before I can see who was calling me. It was my mom. So my mom calls me and I'm answering the phone. I'm like, "What's up? What's up, mom?" She's like, she just told me that she said Pop Up killed himself. She's talking about my grandfather, and she was like, he
Mm,
killed himself. I'm like, what you talking about? Like she was like that, that
mm,
he had, went to another path, and I was like, what time? It's like 1 in the morning. And I was like, what's so crazy? I almost feel like I foreshadowed something because I was in the studio just literally exactly 45 minutes before 1 o'clock. And I
what?
said it on a song, that. So it's just like, man, like, I
Goodness.
think that hearing the song after, you know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like the day after I did it, and it's just like, damn, man, to know that, 45 minutes, before, what I'm saying, as I was doing the song, what I'm saying, tragedy struck 45 minutes later,
mm,
and it's like it's almost hard to listen through the song because it's just like, why did I randomly fire off the hip and say it's 12:15, December 30th? Like, why did I? What
oh,
made
wow.
me say that? What I'm saying, before anything. So for a minute, what I'm saying, for like a week or so, it kind of creeped me out because I was just like, what made me say that? Like, why did I
Mm,
say, what time it was and what date it was, only to find out a few hours later that so something seems to happen on, that same day, an hour almost exact matches. So it's like that one was just very hard to,
mm,
listen back to for the most part. But I think I've gotten over, I think I've gotten over the stretch of that because of, just overall how the song is, what I'm saying, and who, all that I talk about and things of that nature. Like, on my first album, there's like this posthumous feature where my brother, he had passed away about almost 5 years ago, and he had sent me the song now 10 years ago, but at that time it was about 6 or 7, and and I did the song, et cetera, and his verse was on there, but by
mm,
the time that came out on my album and stuff, he was already gone. But last year, around like I want to say like maybe midsummer,
mhm,
I had, my dreams be very, very vivid, but I had seen him in my dreams along with my older brother. And it's like in his dreams, he had told me, that, like, listen, you
mhm,
don't got to worry, man. Like, I'm good. Like, and it's crazy because before I had that dream, like the whole month and a month before that, he was just heavy on my mind. And
mm,
it's just like it's so ironic how I was able to have a dream and what I was having anxiety
mhm,
about. It's like he came to my dream and he was inside my dream. And he's telling me like, "Yo, you don't have to worry. Like I'm good.
mm,
It's better. It's better where I'm at than where I was." That's
right.
why I said it in, what I'm saying, one of the lines that I'm like, he told me it's better, it treat him better than the, what I'm saying, that it treated better to the hood. So it's like, just I was able to capture the narrative from a lot
Right.
of different things and speak on a lot of things that picks up from when my first album left off, but it's not exactly like my first album. That's why I said it marks the end of a
Mm.
chapter, you know, a painful but beautiful chapter, if
Yeah.
I can describe it. So I'm excited for what's to come next time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Wow. Well, my condolences to you and your family for your loss. Recent loss. Wow. That gosh, just listening to you, it, it definitely. I think that book that you're talking about, the compilation with your friend. Um, I can't wait to see that. Of course, you're going to come back on here so we can talk more about that one
Oh
when
yeah,
that
you
pops
already
up.
know that. Yeah.
um, so, if someone could hear one of your, tracks off the album to understand who Poppy Dizzy is, right, in 2025, which one should it be?
Ooh. So, if I can go through everyone, all of them, I'd probably say, well, like where I met is
Yeah.
definitely the closer Epiphany. Like
Okay.
I think that's where I'm at, for the most part. And I think there's a reason why that I made that song for sure the closer because
Mm,
that's the tone for where I'm saying where I'm gonna go next for the most part. Like,
gotcha.
okay.
Okay. Okay. So, DMV, right? DC,
Mhm,
Maryland, Virginia to the
mhm.
world. How are you staying true to your roots while expanding your sound and reach?
I think it would just be boiling down to everybody that I'm around. You know what I'm saying, and who I'm around. Since
Uh-huh.
there's very few people that it is that I hang around, like my little bro Tay, my man Eric, maybe my sister Cash and things, my big homie Gotti, but maybe outside of them, what I'm saying, I ain't really, I don't really, nobody really see me and I don't really see nobody. So it's like with me, I be in my own world. Even when I'm around everybody, I still be like, it still be feeling like I'm by myself. I've always been an isolated person. That's why it's like I'm comfortable with being alone. And that's why it's easy for me to face my battles and traumas and stresses and all that head on by myself because
Mhm.
I'm used to being by myself. So it's like, I feel like when it comes to things of things of that nature, I take it day by day.
Mhm.
Um, Honestly, that's
Mhm.
almost like the best that I can do.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely understand and can relate with you on that. So,
Okay.
what's something you think outsiders, not from the DMV, right,
Mhm.
still don't understand about the DMV's music scene?
I think a lot of people don't understand what's really being said in it because everywhere everywhere you go, everybody has their own different music scene and things of it, what I'm saying, but I promise you, if you actually listen to the things they be, what I'm saying, that they be saying, and some of the artists that be saying, you'll really like, all right, now I understand, what I'm saying, y'all culture and stuff, because and we got two different types of cultures when it comes to the DMV. What I'm saying? We got this trap, what I'm saying, quick trap, what I'm saying, music. And then we got that real rap trap music, what I'm saying. And the scene down here, what I'm saying, people don't understand it until they come down and see
Mhm.
it for themselves. So it's like, you know, when
Right.
people don't understand that the DMV, they got all different types of, what I'm saying, all different types of different talent for real. Everybody just got to stick together for the most part. That's
Hmm.
just what it boils down to.
That's so true, and that's the most difficult thing to
Mm,
do because of the egos. Everybody want to be The
Number
king,
one.
the queen,
Yep.
right?
Everybody can be the king and the queen. It don't matter about who getting the most money or whatever. Everybody out here is rich.
Right?
That's what it's all about.
Right. Helping each other. That's for sure. And that's
Yeah.
unpromoted. Oh, okay. Hey, Capone. Capone is on. Thank you for joining us, sir. And Pre E Mason, thank you for joining in. Key Property Inspecting Group. Uh, well, I don't know if you have any properties, but hey, I'm open to looking at those. So let's talk about collaboration and influence, right?
Hmm.
You've worked with like a variety of sounds,
Hmm.
especially. I want to note to everybody, he works with a lot of timeless pieces. Okay, that's when I first met Poppy Dizzy. I was like, man, you're just
Hmm.
bringing me back. I'm talking like
Yeah.
Marvin Gaye, like that type of sound. Um,
Yeah.
any like unexpected collaborations that you pushed, you know, during this album?
Mm, I wouldn't. I wouldn't say so. I mean, I do got some unreleased, what I'm saying, collabs, what I'm saying, still in my files for sure. But
Okay.
I knew for a fact that, you know, I knew for a fact once I was crafting this album just based off of the title, I knew that the most it was gonna have as far as a feature was gonna be one person. If it wasn't one person, it was just gonna be me solo on,
Okay.
on some J. Cole type of timing. So
All
I
right.
that's what I was thinking, but I'm like, me, I ain't a picky person, mm, by any means. I
Uh-huh.
just know my sound and the message, what I'm saying, that I'm trying to get out. I know that, the next generation should be inspired by, what I'm saying, wise people. And when I say wise people, that you know, the music that they make, et cetera, they think about its impact, and not for the notoriety and the money it's going to bring, but the impact, because the impact is going to be greater than that. Because if it's a good impact, you will be sampled 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 plus years from now. You know what I mean? That is timeless, that is legendary, you know what I mean? Versus like just, being, being known for controversy.
Mhm.
So it's like my sound, I like to, like you said, I like to bring that throwback, what I'm saying, because, you know, I'm wise with music, what I'm saying. I know about the legends. I grew up hearing, what I'm saying, some of the greatest music, ever made. So it's like for me to be able, to get older, and it's just like, I'm able to, create that content, and I'm able to mesh some of that classic into what I got going on. Yeah, I love it because it's like modern old school versus modern new school. The only difference is, you consider me new school, but I don't sound like somebody new school.
Right.
That's the only thing. So it's like I pride myself on that, making, my sound different and, distinct, but also I pride myself on people being able to like love what sample they hear and like, damn, I ain't hear nobody, what I'm saying? I ain't hear nobody bring this joint out and I don't
Right.
know how long. It's good to hear this, what I'm saying, again. And it's one thing to sample somebody, what I'm saying, and do a song over it, but it's another to actually do a song over it and actually make it rock. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's the difference. That's why I say a lot of people don't understand the difference between making like singles and EPs and mixtapes and albums. They don't know the difference because they'll think by making a bunch of songs that it makes it a project. No, that's not what it's all about, because if you're just making a bunch of songs, what can I learn from you? Where's your growth? If you're talking about the same thing and 14 songs, 16, whatever have you, but you're saying the same thing, I'm not learning nothing about who you are besides you like to smoke, drink, you like to pop perks, you like to mess around with a bunch of women, you like to degrade women, you like to shoot guns or whatever, blah, 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 blah. But you say that on every single song. So it's like I don't know who you are. So how is this a project? If that's the case, you should have just put these out single by single by single by single because this isn't a project. That's not how you craft a project at all.
Mhm.
So it's like, a lot of people have it confused, and it's just like, that saying goes, just like when it comes to sports and same things with music and stuff. It's literally not something for everybody. And I feel like music, art in general,
Mhm.
shouldn't be something that people should be allowed to like play around with. Like you shouldn't be able to just treat it as something that's just like a quick money grab. Because if you know anything about music and
Yeah.
doing it, you know that you're gonna go more time, you know what I'm saying, without having it before you do get it. It's
Mhm.
just if you're gonna stay dedicated to that, because again, you're gonna have to invest money, you know what I'm saying, before you get money. And
Yeah.
I mean, I consider, you know what I'm saying, that in every aspect of life because it's technically like that in every aspect of life. So, you know, it's one of them things. This is like that's why I keep my own sound the way that I do, but I just know, I know how I approach music. I know how I do music, and I know how I'm dedicated to music. And I know my sole purpose of doing music ain't for money, you know what I'm saying, or to get quick money. No, I do this because this is how I express myself. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? This will save my life. This is what I turn my outlet to instead of, you know what I'm saying, go on my other passive things that led me down bad paths when I was growing up. You know what I mean? Like my catalog extends back 11 years. I have every file on my phone, and I feel like with me and anybody that's dedicated and true to an art knows when something is for them versus when it's not. Just like when we play sports, we know a football for us, we know a basketball for us, or whatever, right?
Mhm.
if if I feel like if music wasn't something for me, I
Mhm.
would have stopped writing 11 years ago after a year. But
Yeah.
no, everything that I wanted to fix about myself, everything that I wanted to improve and learn and capitalize on and execute and just grow as an overall artist, I've been able to do. And it's just like seeing the rewards of it come true now. It's almost like people almost feel like, that I'm just new to this. Like this is like, this is one of the things, like I've just been, I'm just putting these projects out. Like, damn, you just now rapping like this? No, you don't know about my sound before this. My sound before this is what leads up to this.
Right.
Where you're at right now, you're just catching up to me. You're very late. You
Right.
know,
Too
you're
little, too
very
late.
late. You can see exactly. That's exactly. Said hence why the title's like that.
Too little, too late.
You
Oh my
know,
gosh.
that's
That.
literally how it goes. So, I mean,
Oh my goodness. Well,
life.
yeah. Speaking about that, how do you continue to maintain your originality in an industry that's like the whole quick to label, organize, categorizing artists and kind of like the fast food buffet style menu.
Somebody asked me that like maybe like a month or two ago. Maybe my man said something like, you one of the last few people I know that's still, it's still authentic and have originality and they sound like how you do that. And I think I said something on the lines of that when I write my music, I'm talking about my life. I'm not gonna water my life down. That's just what it is. That's how I'm able to stay original. I can't water my life down and talk about things that I'm currently not living because there are those that are around me 24/7 or see me, at least 3 or 4 times out of 7 days. And
Right.
they know for a fact I'm not riding no damn foreign whips or none of that, you know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna lie about, my life or portray an image of my life to get to the next stage of life. So it's like, nah, if I'm me, I want to be known that I was, self-made. I didn't use a handle. I didn't need a cosign and things like that. Like there's been a lot of people around me that do music and things of that nature. They've been told that they need, you know what I'm saying, they maybe should consider getting a writer and stuff. I've never been told that I needed a writer, and I know that I don't need a writer because I
Mm.
passed English with an A. So I know how to write. History was my favorite subject, so it's
Oh
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean, like from what I learned from school and stuff, me storytelling and being able to write, talk about my own life, it was not hard for me to do. It's just that people that know me know that, yeah, bruh ain't capping. You know what I'm saying? That bruh talking about, if bruh talking about what he going through in life, he ain't lying because bruh has called me and
Yeah.
talked to me about the situation, and our bruh FaceTime me, and bruh was going through this current situation. If bruh say he rolling like that, bruh is rolling like that because I can vouch for that because bruh's around me and bruh's always rolling like that. But you don't know bruh's rolling like that because bro is so cool, he's so calm, and he's so collected. You wouldn't suspect a thing, and that's
Right.
how I prefer things like that.
Hmm.
I don't prefer people to see me and be like, oh well, he's too this, he's too flashy, he's too that. I don't prefer to be that way anyway. You know what I'm saying? I learned when I was around 8, you know what I'm saying, about being like the flashiest person in the room. The flashiest
Hmm.
person in the room you attract the most. And it's like what I didn't seen in my own life, you know what I'm saying, and overcame and stuff like that, I would think that people would look at life differently. You know what I'm saying? All the people we done lost, especially over simple things, be it
Right.
egos or emotions or whatever, even lies. The
Yeah.
amount of people that have lost their lives over things like that, you would think that people would want to be a little bit more, genuine and kind to one another when it comes to people. But you know what? People aren't, and it's sad. It's for real
Yeah.
sad how the world is, but you know what? In another sense, it's not surprising because look at the times that we living in. You know what I mean? Like just look at the way everybody living. For example, when it comes to living, you know what I'm saying, and this is just United States, how is it that you got to make 3 times the rent? How
Yeah.
can you do that in this economy? Out of all 50 states in the United States, there is no place in no state where working 40 hours per week is enough to provide for a 2 bedroom. There's no way you're paying rent. There's no state that pays that amount for it to be done like that. So how can you make 3 times the rent? That's almost impossible. What do you want people to do?
Right.
So it's like it's a lot of things going that's wrong with the world too, you know.
Right.
And it's just like I can only try to make my own mark in the world and try to avoid all the negatives, you know what I'm saying, about life. That's my main goal. My goal is generational wealth, you know what I'm saying, for
Right.
my kids and stuff like that, but also outside of my kids and stuff, I got my own legacy I want to leave out next to them, you know what I'm saying? Like, helping youth. There's a lot of troubled youth that need to get off the streets, need more opportunities, places of employment, places to live. They need to get away from environments and don't be having the tools, and they don't have the support around them because they're accustomed to their, what I'm saying, they're accustomed to that environment, so that's all they know. When they get in a new environment, they get scared, so they want to go back into their old environment. No, they need support so that they could adjust and be able to show themselves that they could become somebody different. You know what I'm saying? Somebody needs to start, you know what I'm saying, big organizations that they go across, you know what I'm saying, the world
Right.
and help youth around the world, troubled youth, you know what I'm saying? And then this of all, you know what I mean? This of all colors, you know what I'm saying? There is no discrimination or judgment of any color, you know what I'm saying? Because we all troubled, we all in this world, you know what I'm saying? Existence, billions of us. This is like, you know, if somebody can help some youth and guide them, you know what I'm saying? Somebody's got to be a pioneer for it. So it's like, one of the things I feel like I'm placed on earth to do is help people because that's one of the
Right.
most things that I'm good at is helping people. You know what I'm saying? I like to help people. You know what I'm saying? It's a joy for me. So I want to, you know what I'm saying? That's one of the legacies I want to, leave behind. Like
Yeah.
something something to be remembered by. Like you know what I'm saying, for a long time. It's unforgettable.
Yeah. No, like you're actually you've been doing it. You know what I mean? It's funny
Hmm.
because like we say like what we want to do because I say too like I want to be a philanthropist and when I get to this funding to help, but we're actually literally helping people, saving lives. Like your music, your songs. I was just talking with several artists that their music actually saved a person, you know, from
Hmm.
going to the deep end, and that's huge. You know, that's significant,
Yeah,
and I think that should be honored. So, moving in or segueing into when you hear people calling you the musical maestro, what does that mean to you?
it's it's real. It's real high. It's real high honor because it's like,
Right,
for people to be able to sum it up and be like, well, you know what I'm saying? That sums you up, you know what I'm saying, as an artist, you know what I'm saying? It'd be crazy to me when people say it.
right,
But but I enjoy it though. I'm glad people understand, you know what I'm saying, what it is that I am and understand, you know what I'm saying, something that I am. So I don't
right.
mind it at all. I don't mind it.
And what does the legacy for Poppy Dizzy look like in this stage of your career?
Man, I could say, I mean, so far, if we looking at it, you know what I'm saying? It's like I feel like if I wanted to stop doing music today, I'd be like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll be, maybe I could be satisfied, but I'm like, nah, because I'm like, nah, I got too much to say, you know what I'm saying? I got way too much. That's why it's like I can never run out of material because it's just like, I'm just pushing my life together, you
Right,
know what I'm saying? And I'm able to merge them together to mesh them with young man, full blown man me,
right,
and to tell it from different perspectives. And so it's like I can't, I can't run out of material. So the legacy for me is just like longevity for sure. Like once you go back into the to my catalog, be like, you kind of got a long catalog for real. I'm like,
yeah,
yeah. I want this to be here for when I'm not here no more. It's just that back 10, 20, 30 years, you can still Google me and find me, and they're like, you really have like huge bodies of work on here. Yep. You know
yeah,
what I mean? You know what I do this for. This wasn't no game. You ever want to know about me as a person? You know what I'm saying? Listen to everything from start to end, and you'll know all about me.
well, we're gonna listen to something, a new the his new album, one of his tracks here. So here we go. And the video is so dope, but I'm gonna stop blabbing and let's go ahead and play it. Keep your head up and pray to the
You know I'm drinking clear. Every time I drink clear, I ain't thinking clear. And if it's brown, you already know how I'm about to get down. I'm just asking why they don't let keep P. That's all it is. Oh my gosh, was that rain? Thursday. Yeah. You like rattle? Well, cheese, at least keep it G. I'm keeping it P, not aiming to please. I got a release, I'm about to unleash. You taming this beast. My bro got a plea, my other got peas. I'm smacking some fees, I'm paying some calls, I'm paying some bills. Don't look at the cost, I'm risking it all and I'll take it too far. Fuck what you about it, man, fuck what you saying. I slid in your lane again, now I'm so arrogant. So un-American, part of my heritage, building inheritance. Kids got inheritance, lobster, asparagus, crimes ain't no evidence. That's my intelligence, that makes moves relevant. I'm such a settlement, I could be generous, I could be menacing. I don't play innocent, right? Wild ass feelings got some evil ass words they don't really want to say. They gon' do it in disguise in the form of a favor where they want to get high. Know it all too well. It always lies in the eyes. Shit ain't coming as a surprise. They be linking with the ops. Maybe snitching to the cops. They won't tell it for the top. But a bitch give him top. She gon' use it from the drop. What he wear his description. Get somebody here rock. T got life. Few statements from the wife. Though the shit wasn't right. My nigga took a real light. Took ones like two wrongs ain't right. But the boy in the sky shit. That's real life. Hit him with the facts. They ain't trying to hear that. Click first at him. He was bound to clap back. Hole in his head straight froze. It's a rap. Score still up. Boy still ain't hit back.
Delonte, this is your favorite granddad, man. Give me a holler, man. I got somebody to holler at, man. They like to rap too, man. I love you rap, man. I know you get ready to get big time, man. Man, so give me a call.
Keeping it P, I don't blink when I squeeze. Always say what I think, niggas know what I mean. Always been about the green, eat my chicken and beans, eat the peach while she cream. Where's them niggas who really rapping, snapping, preaching more besides drugs and trapping? We know your little hitter itching for the action, niggas coochie, that boy scared of scrapping. Being me or die, niggas know the vibes. We ain't lying like them other guys. Fuck the other side, niggas pick the side. We all solid over this side. End of me, so many niggas try, but they hiding out when the gang slide. Just text Gotti, told me aim high, just keep calm with the same mind. Honored to humble you niggas and humble some women. I've been trying to warn you, alert what's to come. I hope it was fun, your good little run. I've been number one. You slide to six, we slide with sticks. All of that talking till niggas got flipped. All of that talking with hoes and you whipping them bitches that's talking can eat on my dick. Promise you this ain't the life that you want. You niggas my sons, them singles was buns. Fake woke niggas ain't one of them ones. Look who they become. These guys are some bums. Chris had a drum till niggas ran down. 4 shots in on one punctured his lung. A lot of young niggas die young on the corners of jails or with 12 when they tell look what happened to Real.
Wow. That is so,
It's, it's
yeah.
crazy. It's crazy because from that song alone, you already knew how the rest of the album was gonna go.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that is and you said it was during the snow days, right? It's like wait,
Yeah,
15 degrees.
it was just after the snow had melted. Like the snow had just finished melting, like maybe 3 days prior to me shooting, but it was still cold as hell. It was 16 degrees outside.
Wow.
Like, and by the water where I was at made it about maybe about 5 degrees cooler. So it was probably about 11 degrees where I was.
Oh my goodness, that is crazy. Well, it looks like most of your compilations are here, right? But
Hmm.
you're all over. I'm trying to think. This one was from a year ago. I think I heard this one.
Which
Let's
one?
see. Let's see, Girls These Days, and
Yeah, that was it.
then the new. So with everybody that's on here, the latest one is Keep It P. It's the Too Late, Too Little, Too Late. But his last album is Time Will Tell. And but I'm sure that your videos. Are you gonna make other videos for the latest release?
Yeah, so Keep It P was just, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's the beginning of the year because I said I was going to do it in the middle of the year. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be another video that's dropped. That's why I said in July, there's going to be another one that drops. But see, what I might do, I might drop a video that's completely unrelated to both projects.
Okay.
Or because I'm about to throw everybody off because I think everybody gonna think they know what direction I'm going towards and they're not going to. But never that. But yeah, outside of that, I'm gonna do some like where everybody has like the little mics hanging down and stuff like that.
Uh,
Or behind the little tour bus thing and stuff like that. I'm gonna do some of that for
that'd be
sure during the summer. But by the end of the year there's gonna be another one. So when I'm doing, I'm gonna do three this year. You know what I'm saying? But
mhm.
the best part about it is everything is on my go. You know what I'm saying? And what makes it better is having the money to fund it. Money to fund it. You know,
Right,
and
right.
I make sure that it get done. So you know, right where I'm doing now, I'm on the doing this album and stuff like that. But birthday next week, be
That's right.
30. You know what I'm
Happy
saying?
early birthday.
So yeah, so I got a lot of things to be happy about, and thankful about, and I do got I already got two of my birthday presents already. One of them is real special, but I ain't gonna fulfill that at the
Okay.
moment. But everybody's gonna understand. Everybody's gonna know. No, people gonna find out at some point what
Oh
it
yeah.
was, but it's real special to me because it also completes something for me too. But the
Okay.
other one, the other, what I'm saying, thing is just, you know, lately I've been blessed, even through my hardships, I've just been blessed. So it's just like
Yeah.
being able to be grounded through everything and know where I stand in the world and who I am, what I'm saying, and who I'm becoming, I think is feeling real good. Because again, it's like I said, I've been taking care of myself physically, emotionally,
Right.
mentally, spiritually, and even through the parts of where it's hard at, I still at the end of the night sit down and reflect back on it, and I still ask myself what I can do better. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The next time, said thing happens, or whatever,
Right.
whatever I think or whatever, I stop saying I can't do something and say I am gonna do something. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like the way how I'm training myself and stuff like that. I
Right.
feel real good. I feel real strong. You know what I'm saying? Real good.
So, given that with all the tragedies and these moments, right?
Hmm.
You give so much to through your music, right?
Uh,
To depict that. How do you refill your own cup, creatively and also emotionally?
hmm. That's a real good question because I'll be asking myself that same question. How the hell I actually be refilling my own cup? But I think, I think I look at the little things in life
Mhm.
instead of trying to expect bigger things. So what I mean by that is how I'm able to stay afloat and things like that. It'll be the tiny hugs from your
Right.
little humans, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And just the conversations with them, seeing their personas and things that they do, goods and bads. I think that helps me stay grounded emotionally because it's just like, nah, I see there's a reason why I remain calm and relaxed. And for them, but creatively, I think I just, I know life isn't going to be perfect and I don't
Right.
expect things to be perfect. So the bad parts, that happen, I tend to turn those into energy. So that's what helps me stay there creatively because it's just like how I'm feeling when I'm in a good mood or bad mood. I use every day as inspiration.
Mm.
Um, so it helps me be able to, you know, to
Right.
stay there and stay razor sharp. I take my time off, from writing and stuff to do other things. But again, at the end of the day, I am a writer, so
Right.
I know that, I'm gonna go back to my pen at some point. But I stay there by continually listening to myself
Mm.
for real, and then whether it's something old of mine or something recent, and that's just like, now, and I say to myself now, what would that next project from you sound like? And
Right.
that keeps me sharp right there. Like, I
Mm.
know how it's gonna sound. You know what I'm saying? For me, I know where I'm going for. So listening to myself for real, listening to what I just put out helps me stay afloat because I know, what to do next go around. I know not to go with the same sounds and flows, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just like, yeah, I know where we're going with this. We know what we do this for.
Yeah. Definitely. And who you're doing it for is for you and your fans, the audience. So, with that being said, what's one fan, right, moment that really stuck with you recently?
Um, well, I've had I've had a lot of I've had a lot to date, but for this one particular one that I will never ever forget, my my first my first album, there's a song on there with my brother who had passed away. Now his the mother of his kid,
Mm.
she had reached out to me and she thanked me for making sure his voice still stay out there. You know what I mean? And she was just like, I was just telling our son how much of a lyricist his dad was, and it's just like, yeah, I mean, bro inspired me because when I was, before I put things actually on platforms and stuff, when I was just recording and having the files, I would send it over to bro and be like, bro, you got it all, bro. All I'm gonna need you to do is change yourself up, because you becoming a different person. So it's like, I think I'm gonna forever remember that because it's just like, for somebody to be like, damn, I listened to a project of yours and I noticed that somebody on your project, what I'm saying, we have a kid together, and for you to, make, such a good song, a beautiful song like this, and to be able to mesh voices like this, what I'm saying, you're keeping his memory alive. And that's exactly what that song was, what I'm saying, for sure was, what I'm saying. This for prime example, what I'm saying. My brother's name Pops, what I'm saying. It's his rap name, what I'm saying. But that's what that's one of the things I do it for, what I'm saying. That's one of my favorite songs ever. I can never replicate that, what I'm saying, that energy. And I be trying to, what I'm saying. Like I got too many different energies to tap into, but that was my favorite one to tap into, what I'm saying. That's why this album I was able, what I'm saying, to talk about how, what I'm saying, he talked to me in my dreams, because that's facts, what I'm saying. He did tell me in my dreams he's good, heaven's treating him good is better than the hood. So,
Right.
you know, it's one of the things that I do it for, what I'm saying. It's a release, what I'm saying, for me, but it's also art, what I'm saying, to get out in the world, what I'm saying, aside from the madness and the craziness that we all, what I'm saying, talk about, because I know me when I get to, running my mouth. When I open my mouth and I
Right.
start talking, I go there, but I'm
Right.
also very conscious too. So it's just like, that's why you have that nice blend of that here on this album. You got the ones that are very turnt, but it's just like you. It's like I said at the beginning. This is my most darkest. What I'm saying,
Mhm.
my most darkest I can get. What I'm saying, maybe I can get darker. But this is, my most darkest to date. But I do this. I really do this to, for the love of art. You know,
Right.
for healing. Like
For
it's healing
sure.
for me.
For sure. So we know that you're going to be experimenting with other sounds in your future drop or release.
Oh, for
So,
sure.
yeah. So, how do you like double down on the work? And are you probably thinking about maybe a tour and like futuristically in
Yeah,
3 to 5 years, or maybe a
yeah,
deluxe edition or something like that. I know you said something about a book compilation.
yeah. It's crazy because as far as touring, now that I've been able to, you know achieving, get something that I've been wanting to get for a long time. I'm able to really do my shows and do my traveling because I'm allowed to do the traveling that I want to. What I'm saying, the way that it is. Because me, I'm a person. I move militant. If people know what somebody mean when they say they move militant, then they understand exactly what I mean. But I'm militant the right way. What
Right.
I'm saying. So, you know, um, touring for sure is something that's on my bucket list because I do want to do a tour,
Right.
even if it's like a little mini tour, like a 4, 6, maybe even 10 city tour.
Uh-huh.
What I'm saying? I
Yeah.
want to do a little, what I'm saying, a little tour, and then that way, you know, all the other fans I got, what I'm saying, I could face up, meet them and stuff like that, and fans know me, but what I'm saying, beyond and beside the movie. I'm not saying movie, Lord have mercy. I want to do
Yeah,
movies
you're
too.
gonna be in the movies
But
too.
but
You spoke into existence. Yeah,
but besides
I
music
can
and
see
things,
that.
they know me. Yeah, I know I can see it too. I for sure can see it. It's like, they gonna be like, hey, I know about him besides, and beyond music, I know the type of person that he is and
Right.
stuff like that. And I want people to be able to admire that, what I'm
Right.
saying, that type of thing. Like this person is a real authentic person, what I'm saying, and for the
Yeah.
fans, like bro ain't here for no clout or none of that. Bro just generally care
Mhm.
about, you know what I'm saying, the love of people and want to spread the love of people to other people, which is what we need in the
Right.
world instead of pushing negativity and all that, F you blase blah propaganda. We
Mm.
need some more positive, some positive things going on. So, you
Yeah,
know,
that's true. That is so true. Well, with that being said, right, you last time you were on the show, you left us with really great gems as you're doing right now. But what is one message you want to leave to the listeners right now,
oh man,
this time
I would, I would definitely tell everybody, I would say not let anything like disturb your peace. Like, don't let anybody
around? Mm,
take your peace.
yeah,
Like, notice once you start changing your life and you becoming a better person. Notice the pattern that you got those people that are happy for you and those people that are secretly, rooting against you. You can tell in their demeanor, what I'm saying, how they are as a person. So I encourage everybody to stay grounded, stay real to themselves, stay authentic to themselves, and stick to themselves, and stay safe.
yeah.
Like it's getting real out here. Like stay safe. We all don't know what we gonna wake up to in the next day. So everybody just stay safe and just love on who loves you.
Mm, I love that. Yeah, most definitely. And it's ever since I met you, you've just been so like real. You know what I mean? Like you're there's no inhibitions with you, maestro. I'm gonna call you maestro, musical maestro, which I can appreciate. It's very difficult to meet people that are true to the craft,
Hmm.
one, and actually loving to do their passion.
Yeah.
Because like again, you're doing your passion, you have belief in yourself, money will come. I think I was talking with an artist this week. Money comes in different forms. Wealth comes in different forms. And what is your definition of wealth, right?
Hmm.
Or what's your definition of being rich? And
Hmm.
me is rich in my heart, rich in my spirit, my soul, and helping others through that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very similar. That's very similar to my job, my manager, she's a general manager, but she's like a second mom to me. Like she's literally in my phone, like Mama Esther. Like she's literally like a second mom. And I know, me and her have so many real conversations, but she said something to me the other day because I was actually troubled myself about it. And I was like,
Mm,
damn, if I had the opportunity to go back and change myself, would I? And I know we were all asking a question like $10,000, or you'd be able to go and change back, something in your life. And she was like, I wouldn't go back and change it because I wouldn't have learned everything that I learned then that I know now. I wouldn't be who I am. And it's like when she said that, it hit me so hard because I'm like, damn, because I was troubled about that, but somebody else was able to put that to rest. But it was such wise words, what I'm saying, in the way that happened, because I feel like that was meant for me to, what I'm saying, that was meant for me to hear,
mm,
what I'm saying, at that moment. So you remember how I was saying that I listen, what I'm saying, when people say some wise things and things of that nature, that's something, very wise. So it's like
mhm.
it's 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 a lot, man. It's a lot.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
tell you.
No, I think that all the stuff that you've been through, but for me, I think it was just you're put into a person's space to learn, to experience, and to grow, right? Whether it's a little bit of an experience or a little bit of growth, it's growth, right? And so you're teaching each other, and the person that no matter the indifferences, each one left with a lesson,
Yeah, exactly. I like that.
right? And
Mhm.
that's a life lesson, and you probably help the person and vice versa. And later on, hey, this is, I know I shouldn't be doing it this way, or I should be doing this way, or reflecting more, maturing more, being more spiritually wise. And I'm not trying to throw this in, but it's kind of like cliche. A lot of people are saying, chosen one, chosen one. But you were chosen, you were the one chosen to be in that space at that certain time,
Yeah.
in that timeline, to help that person to overcome, maybe to elevate. You know what I mean? We don't know
Mhm.
these things.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly that.
so speaking about being with NNO 360, right? This is the second time around. How has your experience been all these
Man,
years?
man, both times have been marvelous. I ain't gotta complain. It's been great and the best for me. I ain't got nothing bad to say. No complaints.
I appreciate you. I really do. And you're like one of my day ones.
I know because I remember the first one. That first one was pivotal too, and then this one is too. And I'm just like, man, it's a reason why we even crossed paths back then for real.
Yeah. And I can't wait for the next thing to drop. I know it's going to take a little bit of time, but maybe we can just have you on the show just to see how things are going. And with that being said, is there anything you would like to tell the audience, like events, or I know you said that you're working on some stuff.
Yeah, just I just tell everybody just be on the lookout for
Okay.
some more videos and some performances coming because like I said, I've been able to, capitalize on things and be able to, you know, go about things and move the way that I want to. So I'm able to have a lot more flexibility more than anything. So I got a lot of things on the way for everybody. So just stay tuned.
Okay. Okay. Well, with that being said, be sure to subscribe to Poppy Dizzy and Endano 360. Don't forget to like, comment, share to view all the episodes on Endano 360. This is streaming live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And then I'll go ahead and add it to our Apple Podcast, Spotify, Twitter, and TikTok. And let's please continue to support the Unity for Social Justice. Let's free Master Yo and all our brothers and sisters that are in need of our support. This has been a broadcast of showing love full circle between NNO 360 and Mr. Poppy Dizzy, the musical maestro. Hello. Till then, we'll check back with you, sir.
No problem.
Salute.
No problem. You already know. Salute to everybody out there.
Much love. All right.
You already know. All right, bye.